an American baseball player, actually of the Yankees, Yogi Berra, who said, "Never make predictions, especially about the future." So let me first tell you, you already heard, I'm going back a little in time now before I go to the future, you already heard that elimination and eradication is the new global goal. And I just wanted to show you that in 2006, MMV had already been talking, albeit in slight code, about elimination and eradication. We didn't dare to use the E word. We never mentioned elimination and eradication, but we did talk about defeating malaria. But those of us who were there knew that this is what we were actually talking about. And you might wonder, why were we talking about it in 2006 when this famous malaria forum didn't happen till October 2007, when Bill and Melinda Gates were saying that this should be the target? Well, I have to mention a character here that has not been mentioned, but has actually been incredibly important in terms of being an opinion leader, and that's Professor Nick White of the Wellcome Trust. I was sitting in a bar with him in Bangkok, as one does. Actually, it was the British Club in Bangkok, and we were talking about how difficult it was to do clinical trials in Thailand, and I won't go into why, but you need several beers to talk about doing clinical trials. And then he started saying to me, really, the objective should be elimination and eradication, but the problem is the leadership doesn't dare to talk about it. It's a taboo thing. And I remember thinking about that afterwards, and in the next annual report, in this code, we put that that's what we as MMV wanted to do. Now you see the word we in red there. Who is the we that we were exactly talking about? Well, we was a huge community of people working on this problem, and it is sometimes difficult, not when you're in an organization, not to realize that you are part of a much, much larger movement. You can hardly see the MMV logo in this slide. This is a slide from the Rollback Malaria Partnership, which incidentally was started almost exactly at the same time as MMV, so it's also 10 years old. And even all of these logos probably don't represent the totality of the numbers of organizations involved in the fight against malaria. So, I mean, to paraphrase John Donne, the English 15th century poet who said, "No man is an island entire to itself," we as an organization certainly are not entire to ourselves. And it is, I think, one of the duties of the leadership of these organizations to realize that we're only going to really work and be successful if we try to integrate across these many, many organizations, and also to acknowledge the fantastic work of the Rollback Malaria Partnership in helping make this happen. It's a bit of a shame that Awa Kol Sek, who is the executive director, couldn't be here. She told me how much she would have liked to have been here. She's actually at a meeting, a Rollback Malaria meeting. But certainly one of the things that happened during this period was that the board of MMV deliberately encouraged me to try to get more involved at the level of the Rollback Malaria Partnership and not to only look at things from an MMV perspective. And I think that has actually been incredibly useful and will be even more useful going forward. It is only by working together with many other organizations that we are going to succeed. Now, this is a slide I was a little worried about showing because some may think it a bit depressing. The slide is a slide from early drafts of the Global Malaria Action Plan. It was taken out in the final version. The data came from interviews with a large number of parties by the Boston Consulting Group, and they were being asked the question, how much money is going to be spent in trying to eradicate malaria. You see here, this is billions of dollars. And they divided the chunks of money into prevention. I think we all know what constitutes prevention. Programs, malaria programs, and then treatment, which is basically the cost of drugs. Not doing the research, because the cost of doing the research is not in here. This is just monies going to drug treatments. And what you see, and this is the thing that slightly shocked me, is that in the view of all these wise people that they interviewed, the peak of spending on malaria drugs is just about now, or now in the next few years, and that it's going to be going down so that by 2020, which is this 10 years ahead that I'm talking about, it will be much reduced. And why will it be much reduced? Because there will be successes from bed nets, there may be a vaccine, there'll be successes from a number of other programs. And if you look by 2030, the estimation that only 1% of the total spending will be on treatments. Now, I say this could seem a bit depressing. I mean, if I was a commercial manager and I was looking at these projections and being asked to invest R&D in it, I'd be saying you must be crazy. You only invest R&D into sort of growing markets, certainly not ones which appear. Now, I stress the word appear to be going down. These might all be completely wrong projections, and it may be that this is absolutely not what happens. But this was the wisdom that went into the Global Malaria Action Plan. Now, there are many assumptions